All right, so I think that 99% of videographers and YouTubers buy these cheap Amazon lights and set them up, and they're like, they don't actually look that good. I need to upgrade right away. But you can actually take these lights a lot further than you think. You can take them from this to this. Now, I'd say that this lighting setup actually looks pretty good. I use this light, even though it's so cheap, for all of my DaVinci Resolve tutorials because it's smaller and compact and fits above my monitors. And it doesn't take that much work to get your light looking this good. But without any further ado, let's get into the video. All right, so this is our starting blank sort of scene that we're gonna be working with. I'm just shooting into the corner of my room. It's just white wall door, it's nothing special. It looks as bad as it sounds. It's just a very boring shot. There's nothing going on. So we're gonna change that. Obviously we have our light, and if I turn on the light right now, this is just the cheap light. It helps a bit. So I do look a bit better now. There's a bit of light coming in from the side. It looks like I have a key light. But the first step that we need to do is we need to dim the room and turn off these lights. So let's do that first. All right, so our cheap light is now our only light source in the entire room. We have the room sort of pitch dark. And it looks pretty good, but the issue is this is not a checkered light. So more expensive lights, often you get some type of checker panel, and that just directs the light to your subject. But in this case, it's just a wash, just this soft cloth. And the issue is it's lighting our entire background. So we're not getting the contrast we want from me to the background. Everything is sort of evenly lit. It's not the style that we're going for. And now, I don't know what the proper term is. I might just throw it on the screen here, but I'm gonna throw on a checkered flag or a flag. It's sort of like those visors that horses have. So they just go, they're focused on the thing in front of them, not beside them. And I'm literally just using this white foam board right here. I picked it up, I think, for like $3 at the dollar store. And then I have chip bag pincher clippers things right here. I don't even have the proper materials to set this up. So I'm using household items that you probably have at home. But setting up this checkered flag, what it's gonna do is it's gonna block the light from the background. So if I just hold that up to the light right now, you can see now there's a whole lot of contrast from me to the background, and that's what we're going for. Again, without everything is evenly lit, but if I hold it up like so, it is lit a lot better. So what you wanna do is I'm just gonna take my clip and clip it onto the light, just like so. And because it's such a lightweight foam board, it pretty much holds itself, even with one clip already. But now if I come back into frame, but there we go, now I am separated from the background. And again, if I tilt this so that it's showing the background as well, that's the difference. So again, it's just creating that contrast that we want. And you can do this with any light. It doesn't have to be these cheap lights. It's something that people use all the time, but it is a really helpful technique. And now for a very simple clean look, this is maybe all that you need. But in my case, I'm gonna add a bit of an accent light. Now this again could be anything, but I'm using a little bit of a spotlight. So I'm just gonna turn that on right here, just like so. Now I've got a bit of a spotlight in the background, just adds a little bit of flair to my scene, enhancing my overall look from this light. So the next thing that I'm gonna use to make this light look a little bit better is to actually add a rim light to the other side of the screen. This is just gonna fill in my face a little bit. You can also use a reflector right here to fill that side of your face, to use a fill light. But I'm just gonna put this in the background. It's gonna be a bit of a fill, but it's also gonna act as a rim light, helping with this orange cast to bring that onto my face and not just in the background. So if we place that right here, I'm literally just balancing it on my doorknob, but it works pretty well. If we place that right here, obviously now we get a bit of an orange wash right here. Looks a little bit better than before. And now the biggest thing that takes these lights to the next level is actually being able to turn them to a horizontal position. So they come factory in this vertical position, which sort of works. But the thing is, I always want the most light wrap around my entire face. And when you're in a vertical format, you're getting more spread on the whole body. So if I was doing like a full portrait, maybe, it would look a little bit better. But for most of the time, I actually just want this light to wrap around to this side of the face. That's what gives you that soft, light look. But these lights have no way of turning that way. So it just requires snipping some things and twisting it over to the side. And I'm gonna show you how to do that right now. Okay, so to turn this light sideways, to put it into a horizontal aspect, we would need a head on this light that lets us both tilt, twist, but then also roll. And that's unfortunately something that these cheap lights don't have. They don't have a roll function. That's okay, it's quite a simple fix to do. So to start, what you're gonna wanna do is you're just gonna rip off your diffuser, just Velcro. And again, most of you guys have this cheap light. Some of you might have a different cheap light, but I think this by far is the most popular I've seen on Amazon. It's pretty cheap. I think the brand is called Mount Dog. So once you have it off, the next thing you're gonna do is you're gonna unscrew the light bulb right here that comes with the light. Once it's unscrewed, that's gonna go limp. And at this stage in the past, I've tried to just twist, but there is unfortunately no way to make this actually work. So what you need to do is each of these legs is actually stuck into a sleeve. So it's got a little zip tie right here, and then it's also tucked into this end point right here. It's sort of like those camping tent pegs. And what you're gonna do is you're just gonna snip them, and then you're gonna move this leg over to this corner, this leg over to this corner, this leg over to this corner, and then this leg over to this corner. So you're just rotating it. You're rotating the pegs in their sleeves all over one. But what I'm gonna start by doing is I'm just gonna carefully snip all these zip ties right here so that they're loose. So snip that one, snip this zip tie right here. Then I'm gonna snip the bottom zip tie right here, boom. And then snip the last zip tie right here, boom. Awesome, and once those are cut, we're gonna pull the leg out of the little socket right at the end here. We're gonna pull this guy out, and then we're gonna move again, all of them over one. So this one was in this corner right here. We're gonna move it over to the right, and don't worry, these legs are quite flexible. And then the one that was there, which is this guy right here, we're gonna move it over one as well. So let's pull this one out. And now, as you can see, we've got this horizontal orientation already. And if we reinsert the light bulb now, it's gonna push everything back into place. So when you push it back into its socket, just like so, and twist it in, twist, 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 twist. Now we have a horizontal light, and it works great. And the nice thing is, you don't even need to put these zip ties back on. They really hold no purpose. These rods want to stick into their place anyways because of how the seams work. So you don't need to put the zip ties back on, and it is reversible again. So if you want to go back to a portrait light, you could just do the process we just did. You don't have to just cut them. But of course, let's put our diffuser back on. And now we have a horizontal light with more spread than the vertical. Let's put our flag back onto the side, and then let's see how it looks with everything else. All right, so we just finished making the final adjustment, and our scene looks pretty good. We've got our accent light, we've got the rim light right here. We've got the flag right here to block the light from hitting the background. The room is darkened, the lights are off. The only thing that's really lighting me is this key light. And now we've changed our key light from this vertical position to a horizontal position. And that just allows for a little bit more light on this side of my face. So right now, I'm just gonna stare at the camera and I'm gonna show you before and after of changing this light. So again, this is before right now that you're looking at. There's a bit of light on my cheek right there, but there's not a whole lot wrapping around. And this is after. There's definitely a little bit more wrapping around. Obviously, it's not this huge crazy difference because these soft boxes are still pretty small. So the biggest thing to getting that soft look is just a larger softbox, a bright enough light to light that softbox, but a large softbox usually is gonna do that trick. So I think that's sort of the furthest you can take something like this with a cheap light. Well, actually there's one more thing. Obviously you could add some haze in the background to add some depth. That would be something that makes it look a little bit nicer. I could also add like a reflector or just a fill light, add a little bit of fill, and then maybe push this rim light, just push it to the very back and make it a little bit brighter to get just a harsher rim light. Those are sort of the two things that I'd maybe use to take this to just a little bit of a further level. But I mean, I use this softbox, this cheap light, for literally all of my DaVinci Resolve tutorials by my desk because it is a small softbox. I have it mounted right above my computer monitors. I just turn the brightness quite low and it wraps around my entire face and it looks pretty good. But yeah, there you have it. This is sort of the furthest you can take a cheap light. Let me know if this video was helpful, if you learned something new. And if you like this video, make sure to like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Till next time.